Welcome back into the Sports Source. I don't know about you, but I like dealing with locally owned companies because they are there. If something goes wrong with something you've bought, they're there to fix it. If you've got a question about something, they're there to answer it. Plus, I like knowing face-to-face who I'm dealing with, providing me services, products like that. Safety Systems is that kind of company. Located right here in Knoxville in terms of security systems, monitoring, the install and upkeep of the equipment, nobody is better for your home, office, business, whatever. Safety Systems. You see their website right there? I've told you about them for years. They are the best in East Tennessee. Give them a shout. All right, last week, let's start with what he said last week. Jeremy Pruitt on expectations. So everybody that considers themselves a Tennessee fan, it's going to take us all, meaning to get UT back at the top. It's going to take us all. And the first way to demonstrate that is showing up for the spring game, the passion for it. So I expect our fan base to be there. Obviously, it helps in recruiting when you look and you see 102,000 people for a spring game. That sends a message to recruits about how important spring football is at Tennessee and how much football is important in general. Okay, sounds good. That was before yesterday's game. Here's what he said after the game. I thought the Vol Walk was spectacular. I don't know how many fans we had. He was told 65,000, which was an exaggeration. He says, well, to me, it's kind of like our football team for the fans. The ones that were here, I'm proud they were here. They're fired up and ready to get going. Then there were some people that wasn't here that had legitimate reasons why they couldn't be here. All right. Then there were some people that wasn't here that, why wasn't they here? It's kind of like our football team. I think we all need to look in the mirror and see who we want to be. That was met with some different responses online. Yes. Vol's Twitter and social media and message boards. There were some people saying, yeah, he's honest. I wanted this. And that will Butch Jones spin. Give us this. And there were other people saying, who does he think he is? Question. The greatest fan base in the world. He hasn't been here long. I saw one person compare him to Jerry Green and the Kmart comment.
Oh.
So you had people saying, well, if you put out a good product, we'll show up and watch. It stirred the pot. I can't remember another coach having a few fans, maybe a handful, but they're online. I can't remember another coach leaving the spring game and fans already being upset. But your thoughts on his brutally honest response there. And he said the Vol Walk was spectacular. He praised the fans who were there.
Yeah.
He just wondered, he wanted 102,000. He only looked like 40 or so. Where were the others?
Well, I thought the Vol Walk was tremendous. I had a chance to witness a part of that, and there were a lot of fans. There were more fans there than I thought there would be. But if you want to create excitement for your spring game, then allow more access to the media, which is a conduit to the fans, because so many times we'd get asked in the media how they look. We don't know. We don't get to go watch practice. So.
Or talk to anybody who's at practice to say, well, so-and-so's doing well.
Can't talk to assistant coaches. I think there were 7 players that were made available. There are fewer storylines out there. There's fewer publicity. There's less interest when you do that. And that's on him. And then last week, he and Philip Fulmer decided they're going to have this campaign to try to get people to come. That's a little late. Yes. I think a lot of that is their own fault. Although I think 45,000 plus, whatever it was, is actually a good crowd. I thought it was a good crowd.
Well,
considering.
I went back and looked at Alabama. I wanted to see what kind of a spring game they had the last time they won 4 games in the season. It was 2003. So the spring game in 2004, I looked up, they had about 30,000 at Alabama. So, 45,000, that's not bad.
I can remember back in the former days, they had 12, 13, 20. The spring game just never was that big, and then they went for the year that they tried. I think it's back in the 80s. They went
86.
for the record. They went for the record. Okay, you had a lot of people there. I mean, it is just a scrimmage. It is the spring. People have a lot of things to do. And then throw in a little bit of SEC Network.
Yeah,
I can stay home and watch it. I don't have to drive here from Nashville.
Yeah, as soon as the softball
As soon as the softball game's over with, I can watch
you
it.
missed the interception, you missed the touchdowns, everybody was talking about.
But the parents of those girls, who were the only people watching, they really didn't want to cut away to the Tennessee football game.
Yeah, it was a 5-run lead, I think. So
I'm sorry.
But
I mean, the SEC Network, are you built on football or are you built on softball?
No, you needed to be there.
I don't care whatever you're showing.
Right.
Dump everything for football. But it's spring game. Dump everything for football if you're SEC Network.
Yes, agreed.
All right, your thoughts on his decision to make this comment. Now, I wanted somebody to stand up and yell, it's flu season. That's what I heard in basketball when they didn't have when they didn't have it packed in January. People were saying it's flu season. But your thoughts on him making the comment that, hey, we got to do this together. Where are you?
Well,
We
I
need to
mean,
look in the mirror.
you cannot button up your program and for 7 practices players are off limits and keep everything just totally quiet almost as far as what's going on, off limits to the media for what, the 2 scrimmages. And then in the mid-state area, it's still hockey season. The Predators are, they had lost a tough game, the night before.
Because they had the
this
flu.
week.
Oh, they had the flu.
Yeah.
But
I
the
mean, you
crowd
just
was there.
can't. And then all of a sudden, you try and make this last-minute push, and you're going to have a.
Was it smart of him to make the
Unnecessary.
comment he made?
No, it wasn't.
It was
No,
not
it was
smart of him to
unnecessary.
make the comment he made. As a matter of fact, I would have thought he would have said, hey, look, we're a football team coming off a 4-8 season. We don't have a lot of name players. Matter of fact, most of our name players aren't even playing in this thing today. Hey,
True.
45,000 people, that's not a bad crowd for a glorified scrimmage.
And then plus, don't forget this, you had players off limits before the games where you normally have an autograph session, correct?
They moved the autograph session
So
to the
that,
fall.
I mean, that's another reason not to go.
No, I think
They
it was
also
not
didn't
good.
they also didn't let any players talk after the game yesterday.
No, I
Either.
said
None,
that
zero.
too. I
So,
mean,
Jimmy, your thoughts on the decision to make the comment he made? I think he's being honest. I think he's, as with the players, we said he's setting a tone for the culture that was thrown out there in the first
Right.
segment or second segment.
right.
I think this is all about the culture as well. It's just he's expanding it out to the fans. It sounded to me like something Nick Saban or Steve Spurrier might say.
Mm-hmm.
But they aren't at the Tennessee. They never dealt with the Tennessee fan base.
No.
And Jeremy Pruitt doesn't have the track record of Steve Spurrier and Nick Saban.
I don't recall a whole lot of coaches calling out the fan base and then that working out real well.
Saban has done it a few times where he said, guys leaving early, folks leaving early, maybe we
Right.
ought not give these
But what
tickets.
did you say about him
Well, exactly.
just a while ago?
Well, that's the thing.
That's the
He and
difference.
Spurrier have the clout to be able to say that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and I'd say that for Tennessee in particular, though. I don't remember coaches calling out like
Oh, okay.
Jerry Green.
Agreed.
Yeah.
I don't remember Tennessee coaches calling out fans and it working out well for them. I just don't think that. As I said, it was unnecessary. I wouldn't have gone. I would have praised the fans that were there and said the Wall Walk's spectacular and leave it alone.
Yep.
This fan base makes a point, and they're proud of it, and they talk about how they are the most powerful in social media. They're the meanest. They're proud of that. They love it. They cuss Sister Jean. They danced. They danced about getting coaches fired. They continue to attack fans of other schools where old coaches go. I mean, California fans were talking about, well, when Conzo left, at least we don't have to hear Tennessee fans sending us emails every time he loses. This is a rough fan base in terms of going toe-to-toe. If you're Jeremy Pruitt, they got a lot of pelts on the wall over there, like you at your house. This fan base has skinned some bucks a few times. I don't know that I'd pick a fight with the fan base. I see what he's doing. I don't have a problem with it, but at the same time, I don't know how smart it was.
I don't think it's very smart. I just don't think it was smart at all. I would have said, hey, pretty nice crowd for a 4-8 football team having a scrimmage.
Do you think Philip Fulmer will talk to him about that, or has, or no?
I think he will. I don't know if he has. I think he will. But might want to tone that down a little bit. I don't ever remember Fulmer doing that. I may be wrong. I don't remember him doing that. That wouldn't be his style.
I think
and
you're
I
right.
think he would probably tell Pruitt might not want to go there.
I think Jerry
alive.
Green's the only
Yeah.
one. I think you nailed it. That's the only one I can remember who's ever said anything like that regarding the Tennessee fan base. If they don't like it, they can go to Kmart.
People read Butch Jones's lips last year on the sidelines and thought he had said something.
Yeah.
negative
Oh, that's
about
that,
them.
you're
But
right.
that was-
But that was
That's,
different.
yes,
it's
that's
different.
heat of the battle. That shouldn't. That was.
I
that
was not
he was-
drawing a direct line.
yeah.
I was just saying that didn't help him when people
Yes.
thought that they were getting on the fan base.
I agree. I
Yeah.
just think that was totally taken out of context because the guy's mad. That's different than saying it at a press conference. I agree with you.
And 20 different people
Right.
read his lips 20 different ways.
And how many times in the past has the format been when you get there, you're like, I'm ready to leave? It wasn't like watching a real football game
I actually
anyway.
think
Flu season.
I actually think this year's format might make next year's crowd better.
Yeah, I do
because
too.
it's a football
But
game.
usually in the
we can
past
go watch a
people are
football
like-
game again.
Why are we wasting our time with this?
Okay. Very good. It's interesting. We're going to talk more about his honesty in our overtime segment later today. But coming up next, we got Josh Ward and a couple of VFLs. Going to talk recruiting. It's a big weekend for guys on campus. We're also going to talk about the big VFL gathering they had. The fans, some of the fans may not like what Jeremy Pruitt said yesterday, but the players liked what he had to say on Friday. From what I hear, we'll let them tell you about it. Come on back on the Sports Source.